Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah McIntyre. And today I am joined by yet another special guest. I have got the incredible Oli Cox joining me today. And Oli has got so many different strings to his bow. I don't know where we're going to start with this, but we've got power yoga. He's a psychic. He works with mediumship. He does tarot, and he's also got his own podcast that has just launched. Welcome, Oli.
Hello. Thank you
Hi.
for having me on.
I'm really, really excited to talk to you. Now, I know you listen to Mediumship Matters, so you probably know the structure of how it's going to go. But I always like to start with, how did you start? How did you get into this crazy way of living?
Um, I guess it started with, I guess back in the day when The Secret come out, and I read The Secret, and you're like, oh, the universe. So I had this idea of there's something, and I don't know, I'm not religious, so I wasn't really, I don't know, I don't know what I was connecting to, but yeah, the universe just fitted right. Um, I went to see a psychic. I think I was about 16, and I didn't even know you could go see a psychic, really. It was just
Yeah.
quite new to me. And she said quite a few things that was just really accurate that I needed to hear. But then she also said, "You're a medium." And I was just like, I don't think so. And then, yeah, just basically from there, I just sort of meditated, and you end up meeting loads of different people, don't you? And then quite a few years later, I was in a circle doing readings, and you just think like it just happens. And it's, yeah.
Good. And I love that because I was just talking to somebody before I came into this session with you. I was doing a reading for someone, and we were talking about how so many of us are held back by the idea that if we were a medium, we'd be visited by effigies of spirits, and that we would know from childhood that that was our path. We would know from our lineage that that was our journey. And you're like me, kind of just fell down a rabbit hole and got hypnotized by it. So I love that. So you're in this reading, you're with this psychic. She's telling you you're going to be a medium, and obviously you're working on the meditation and stuff. But how did you find the circle that you ended up going to? And did you stick at the first circle you went to, or did you try lots of different ones? How did it work?
So I have tried a few different ones. Actually, the first circle that I joined, I was in Australia, and I was quite I was going through a bit of a strange time in my life. I was going through a really rough breakup, um, and I needed to find some sort of, I don't know what I was looking for, but I knew that there was a website or app, whatever it's called Meetup, and I just typed in there like spiritual, I don't know, yoga or something, and then there was like, oh yeah, you can join the circle. It was like an open circle, so I went along, and they do like meditation, and there were people like giving readings to each other, and I was just looking like, oh my god, like they don't even, how are they doing this? And I've never really seen it sort of be done in an open setting like that. So yeah, that was sort of the first one. Um, but it was just, I don't know, it was just so surreal. My time sort of in Australia ended, so I've come back here. And I joined another circle. I think there was one in Herne Bay. It was just like a 12-week course. I Googled it. Um, and it was amazing. Like we just sort of covered all different parts of psychic work, crystals, mediumship, psychometry, just all different bits. And I don't know, it was kind of like I felt like I finally, oh my God, this is it. Like it was just so exciting. And I remember getting the train up there every week, and it was just like, but yeah, and then I did my Reiki, I did my level 1, and met some people through that, and then ended up joining a circle that was more local to me. And yeah, it just went from there, really. It
I
just
love it. Do you know that the first circle I ever went to was in Herne Bay?
really,
That is so funny. I'm just sitting here laughing, going, this is how we found each other.
yeah,
Neither of us from Kent originally, both now living in Kent. And
yeah.
that it's just, I love it. I love it. That's so funny. So you start, you're in this circle, you're going through this massive transformational energy, which I'm sure there are many listeners listening to this and just going, that's like me. It just switched on and there I was. And then you just can't get enough of it, can you? It's addictive, and you're in there. How did you start taking that leap into working as a medium and being a professional? Because that's a big chasm to jump, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I feel like I think it was just before I went to Australia. I got some tarot cards. My friend had some, and she was just like, I don't know. I kind of had always been interested, but I had this idea that you have to be gifted your first set, so I never ended up buying some. But she did give me them. But later on, I realised like all of that is just it's all you can. Of course, you can buy your own tarot cards. You can do whatever you want, and it's like you think, oh, it's very, oh, you have to do this. And it's all this like
Yeah.
oh, it's spooky, whatever. But anyway, and I think they were the Alistair Crowley Thoth,
Oh,
and I
wow.
was looking at them, and I had no idea what they meant. And I think to this day, if I think I might have a deck still. They are so dark and complicated. I mean, I'd love to be able to read them, but I just can't. Like, but I ended up swapping them with someone, as you do, and I just had these tarot cards. So then I was just like, well, I don't even know how to read these either.
Oh my God.
Um,
I love
and
it.
then I had a telephone course. I think you just did read through the court cards. I think it was £35, and it was like an hour. She sort of went through the court cards, and I was like, well, that's all I can afford, so I'll have to just make do with that. And so I got a book, and then taught myself, and then was just reading for friends really. And when I was in Australia, I just like I said, I was going through a bit of a crap time. And it's just like a counselling, isn't it? And I know you probably shouldn't do it every day, but I was sort of teaching myself and learning, and I met friends there, and I was just reading for them and talking to my friends back home, reading for them. It just went like that, and it became sort of like my little thing. And it was just tarot. I wasn't doing mediumship or anything. But I think the psychic stuff does come into it, and I feel I was quite tapped into my emotions. I mean, I didn't fully understand my emotions, but it all sort of looking back, I can see that there was that psychic side, and I didn't really understand just what that was.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, and then the circles sort of brought out the mediumship side, and I think I started reading tarot for like £10. I was just doing it
Yeah.
just to like yeah, and
Get the
eventually you
practice.
don't yeah, and you eventually don't need the book, but you need people, new people that are not friends that you've never met before, and I think I was out of work, and I was like, do you know what? £10 not if it's a load of rubbish, then they've not really lost out much, have they? And I
No.
sort of just kept it as that sort of attitude. I'll try my best, and it just sort of progressed from there, and then slowly sort of upped my price. Was then able to link in link in mediumship and bits of psychic information, and it just sort of just built naturally, I suppose.
I love it. And that is such an important story for people to hear because I think there's more of us that come to it at an unexpected point and don't believe that we can do it and then fall into that trap. I mean, I was saying to you before we hit record about, yeah, it's great to have done lots of courses, but then it can also hold you back doing courses because you can um not work in the way that is your way to work and your experience. So it's really refreshing to hear someone just say, well, I just went for it. I did it. Um, I'm not surprised you didn't get on with the Alistair Crawley ones because you're too light. You've got too much brightness in you. Like that, I'd have liked those in my sort of gothy, angsty stage. But then I'd have found it harder to communicate with spirit because I'd have been sitting in my misery, listening to Nirvana and wearing too much eyeliner. So you've got to find the light in it. And I love that you swapped it like Pokemon cards. It just cracks me
Well,
up.
I just thought, well, this woman liked it. She was doing me a reading with him, so I was like, let's just swap, and then it just yeah went it went
It's
from there.
hilarious. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I know it's so funny because you were gifted them. And I wasn't, I just went out and bought mine, but
Yeah.
I'm more of an Oracle cards girl than a tarot just because I'm lazy.
Oh, that's
Exactly like you say, I
fair enough.
can't learning all of the meanings is but now it's funny because I was with Amanda and she bought a set of tarot cards and I was just seeing what I could pick up on them and then she was checking it against the book and it wasn't bad actually. I wasn't too bad. But it's just again finding what works for you, isn't it? And what you're comfortable with.
Definitely, and I don't think it's wrong to have a book there and to use just to if you're just sitting with friends and it's sort of in a relaxed atmosphere, not a relaxed atmosphere, but you're not trying to get a I don't know, but you yeah,
Yeah.
reading from a book is not the end of the world. I think that's a good way to start. So even if you could just slowly sort of learn the symbols, and I think anyone can pick up a book, can't they? And they can be
Yeah.
drawn to any tarot deck. I mean, it's good to have the certain, I'd say the Rider Waite is a good start, because some of the other decks, they've got complete different symbols and
It gets
stuff, and you think,
complicated.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does, and then you don't know what's what. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think anyone can do it if you've got the interest, obviously. But also oracle cards, like I love all sorts of cards.
They're addictive, aren't they? Again, I've got so many different packs. I'm just staring over here at my shelf of guilt where the shelves are bowing under the weight of them. And I've got 2 new packets that I just bought on a whim. I don't know. It's a problem. So you're doing your tarot readings, you're psychic. How does mediumship start for you then? How does that start?
So I feel like it was in that circle in Herne Bay. They did this exercise where we were meditating and then turn on a TV and picture the screen, and we set the intention and all of that. And we had the client in front of us. Well, not the client, it was the person we was working with, and just describe what you see. And literally was just like describe this man. I could see his face, and really remember it. And I could see it was more like a picture. I could see like a brick wall behind him, see like a moustache. Um, I think I no, and I had a book and we was writing bits down. I think I writ George or I writ something. There was just a couple of little bits, and I sort of said it back to the lady after, and she was like, "That's my dad." And I was like, "Is like his name's George?" And I was like, I was so shocked, and I think I told her to shut up. She was about 84. I was like, "Shut up!" But I was really shocked. But it was like, wow, like, and I feel like I didn't really believe it. Um, and it's never always as clear as it. It's always very different. But I feel like that just gave me the so it is possible then, and like it's just not how I pictured mediumship. It wasn't how I pictured I was going to sense spirit, or like I was going to picture a ghost just standing there and they're going to talk
Yeah.
to me and I'm just going to say everything that they're saying. But it's not like that. For
No,
me,
God,
it's
I wish it
not
was.
anyway.
It's not like that for anyone I've ever met. I wish it
No,
was, but
like
yeah.
I,
Even
I
when I
remember,
started my podcast, sorry, but even when I
you know
started my
what?
podcast and I had loads of mediums on, I was still expecting somebody to say, this is how it is for me, but it's not like that for anyone.
No.
It's, yeah,
And I
go on.
think slowly, like as time went on, I realized that I feel spirit, and to ask them to come close. And then we would ask for like a calling card. I think there was like a Tony Stockwell CD or whatever I used to listen to, and it was like calling card. So then my ears would start popping. So that was my little calling card, and then I could differentiate male, female, and just that's how I work now. And it's like I wait for that little pop, and sometimes my ear doesn't pop, and I'm sitting there, the client's in front of me, and I'm just like, "Well, come on, spirit," and then my ears don't pop, and I'm like, "Do I need to just go for it? Do I like?" Because I feel like I can feel someone there, but they're not close. And I've now also learned that maybe that means that the spirit isn't immediate family. Like I'm sort of trying to build up layers of as
Wow.
to why they're further away, or whatever the and it doesn't always work, as you know, but sometimes it does. And it's just, yeah, I just try to just be as open and honest as I can. Um,
Absolutely. It's,
and
I mean,
just,
I have in my booking system, it's an energetic experiment. Results may vary
yeah,
because there are so many different aspects to it. But it's so funny because as you were talking about your ears popping, I had the little thought in my head of, I wonder how long that will last because I would kill for some physical phenomena. You know, when they first used to come in, I used to get a tingle or I feel like a hand was on my face or a warmth on this side. And, you know, nothing now,
mm,
nothing at all. But I think that happens as you get used to working with spirit because you're used to it, you're more open to it. There's less of a sensation as it happens. But then it, you know, what you wouldn't give to just have that comfort.
see, I feel
So
like I used to get like little taps as well. And I feel like for about 2 years, I would even say to my partner, I'd be sitting there, like just watching a film. I'm like, look at my arm, it's twitching. Like it's just a twitch. I'm like, no, 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 it's a poke. And you could see it going in. And like I used to get it quite a lot, and I don't get that barely at all anymore. But I feel like I needed that. I needed that to believe in spirit, and I needed them to be so there because I sort of I'm a bit skeptical. Like I want it to be sort of so maybe that it's all just so we believe ourselves, and can sort of sense them. But yeah, now I guess you just have to trust and
Yeah.
see
I
where
always
it
think
goes.
they've proven, and they're like, right, we've given you enough. So that's it. That's you're lucked out now. We've proved ourselves to you. Now it's time for you to work on faith. And I'm like if I go to film orbs, I will get loads. I mean, I've had them in pub toilets, like any place, anytime, orbs,
Yeah,
except when I'm about to demonstrate. And
wow.
you've got this massive room with all these chairs laid out, and you're absolutely bricking it. And you're
Yeah,
like, Spirit, show me you're there. And you go to film and you get nothing. And
yeah.
I'm like, and it is about that being in that vulnerability of trust. They're not going to keep making me comfortable. It's about discomfort. But yay, thanks.
And it's
So what?
also,
Go
like I
on.
say, it's not a magic trick as well. Spirit probably just testing you to say like, just trust us. Like, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We've given you enough proof now, lady. Just get on with it. And I'm like, no, please, please make it comfy and safe. So, what are your top tips for somebody that is wanting to develop their mediumship, wanting to expand their connection to spirit? What would you suggest that they do?
I would definitely say, go with what feels right for you. And there's not like one size fits all. Someone can say this is how you do it. I've also found that the best way to do it is the way it comes naturally. Maybe working on the different senses and trying to see or trying to feel or I don't know, setting like an intention with maybe a meditation, and asking them to come close and just talking to them. Even if you're not getting a response, just talk to them. I need you to come close, spirit. I need you to come close. Please. Sometimes I forget to talk. I just feel like it's a mental thing. Are they
Yeah.
listening? And I feel like, oh, I need to actually say something in my head because I just wait for them. And yeah, I don't know. But I
I
guess it's
love it.
just that openness, isn't it? Just trying to be as open as possible and try to not get yourself in the way because we've got this monkey mind, haven't we?
Hmm.
And yeah,
Definitely.
maybe learning to slow that down. I'm still trying to learn how to do that, but
Yeah. I haven't, but then I also think that's not necessarily a bad thing because I think it depends what you want from your mediumship. So for some people, they want, they're big on visualizations and meditation, and that's very slow. And that is great. Don't get me wrong. I love an occasional visualization, but I'm not a great meditator. I don't do it loads. I'm too
I'm not.
active for that.
Yeah,
And but I think when you go to see mediums, you don't want a really slow medium. Because it's like someone telling you the story of their dream. It takes forever and it's really like, and they're like, and then I walked down the tunnel, and you're like, oh God. Whereas I prefer mediums that are a bit more
yeah,
spicy, a bit more, on it. And that is where your monkey mind is your friend because you will work faster and quicker. So
that's it. And it's sort of like a creativity, isn't it? It's just
yeah,
that's the same part of your mind that's there. But like you say, I don't meditate as much as I'd like to say I sit there and do it every day. I don't. I teach yoga and I do a meditation at the end of that, and that's probably the only time I meditate.
yeah,
That's really awful to say, but I don't feel like I mean, when I meditate, it really helps me, and I'll do Reiki, I'll do a little meditation, and I'll just calm down, and I love it when I do it. But like you say, when we're doing readings and stuff, it's just there, isn't it? You
yeah,
just go because it's fast. It's because I feel like it comes in and it goes as quick as it's gone. It's like remembering a dream. It's like you're trying to remember it, and the more you try to remember it, it's gone. So you just have to just say it, and then the next bit comes, and the next bit.
absolutely, completely agree. And I think it's important to be honest. I remember forcing myself to meditate, like taking my medicine because I felt like I had to be a medium. And if I didn't, I was letting everybody down. And as soon as I let go of that, everything just got so much easier. And so you have to find what's right for you. If you enjoy meditating, by all means do it. If you're like me and you do it and you go, oh, this is brilliant, I'm going to do it every day, and then don't do it again for another 3 months, c'est la vie. It's not going to
Yeah.
stop you connecting. So what is something that you wish that everybody, if you had like Joe Public and there was something that you wish that everybody knew about mediumship, the spirit world, what was it? What is it you would want to say to them?
I'd say that it's accessible to everyone. I know that some people are not always connecting with their own spirit or their emotions and stuff, but I do feel if you've got an interest, that that's enough. That's enough to be able to, in your own way, because everyone will do it completely different. Um, yeah, I would just say that it's accessible and it's not just like for select people that are born with this halo and of light that just emanates from them.
Yeah.
It's yeah, just I try to just be as normal as I can. And yeah, I mean I don't really talk about it that much in my everyday life. Um, but as soon as you do, everyone's just like looks around, don't they? So I've
Yeah.
just I learned to just keep it a little bit quieter. But yeah, I would just say that it's accessible and just start with where you're at and just yeah, just trust.
I love it. I love it. So talk to us about power yoga. What is power yoga when it's at home?
Well, it started off, I would go to this class and it was like power yoga. I was like, wow, this is so cool. It's like the first type of yoga that I even ever come across. It's like vinyasa. But it's just very fast paced. Not very fast, but it's faster than some classes. You can only get like 5 moves in the whole class.
Yeah.
And you just go and it's all about breathing and stuff. It's like there's a place for all of it, but I just found like the exercise part of it where it was so fast paced. I felt very energized, and you do build up this power while you're doing it. And yeah, I've kind of like added on my own little Reiki meditation breathing thing to it. Because I just think why not? Like, there's no harm in like yeah, so generating this power, and at the end, I'll then just do like this light meditation of, and then protecting your power. And I sort of incorporated it that way. I don't know if you're meant to do it like that, but I think,
Well,
well, why not? It's not hurting anyone. It's
no,
helping them to
exactly. How
just connect
lovely.
and release emotions and stuff. And yeah, but I mean, people like to come just for the fitness side. They don't like all the spiritual stuff. You get a lot of men, but then there was a class that I did. There was, I think, there was just men that turned up. There was 4 people, and I just missed the meditation at the end because I thought I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because they'll just laugh at me. And they were just like, "Oh, we've come for the meditation." So I was like, "Oh, sorry." So we did it, and I just feel like they'd heard about it, and I was like, "Oh." So you just yeah, you never know. You never know. You just they've
Which
come. So
shows that you are doing the right thing and that
yeah.
people are enjoying it. And also, I mean, isn't that so valuable? Because I don't know what your experience with spirituality is, obviously being a man, but from my point of view, like men are few and far between. Like you have an audience and there'll be 130 women and 2 men sitting there, normally looking like they don't want to be there, being
Yeah.
begrudged. So we, and it's a real thing. We desperately need more men to get involved with mediumship and spirituality. So that is great if you're managed to get a whole class of them.
Well, there was 4. There was 4.
Yeah, that's still
But
good.
still, but it's at the Sheppey Fight Academy. So a lot of them are like do kickboxing and boxing and whatever else they do. So I guess they just was giving it a try. But it's nice where it's sort of like yeah, it's I don't it's not all fluffy and this and very slow. I think where it's fast paced, it's more of like a fitness element to it. And I just sort of just sneakily put in the spiritual bit at the end, so it just disguises it, so they're not like
Yeah.
in their face sort of thing.
Get them in the sneak attack.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So you teach power yoga.
Yep.
You are offering your readings out there to people, and you've just started your podcast. Talk to us about your podcast. What's it called?
So it's called Spirit Nonsense. I yeah, I've basically I think last year I quit my job and I started being a driver, and I was listening to loads of podcasts and I was listening to your podcast. Um, and just I'd always had this idea that I needed to do something with social media. I needed to do videos or something, but I just don't know what it is. I get quite nervous and anxious, and any video that I've done, I look back and I just can't. I don't know. I just look back and I'm like, oh, just delete, delete. So a podcast just seemed like a really good way I could talk and I could interview people and like yourself. It just felt right. It just felt
Mhm.
right, and yeah, so I'm only a few episodes in. I've just sort of started just before Christmas, but it just feels like a good direction that I can take at my own pace. And yeah, I just feel like it will fall into the right ears and the right people will listen. And the people that don't like it, they don't have to listen. And I feel like that's just how it hopefully can progress. Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. So what is next for you? What are you planning in 20? I mean, we're recording this early 2024. I'm not sure yet when it's going to be released, but what are your plans for 2024? What have you got your eyes on next?
So I've been to the Arthur Findlay College a few times. I've done a few courses, but I'm just sort of keeping an eye out for a course that I want to. I don't know. I just feel like I want to do something a little bit different and still with mediumship, but I feel like I want to do like a public speaking or something that's connected to. I want to do platform.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I've done it a couple of times and I just don't enjoy it. Like I just get so nervous and so, and it's like I feel like I'm on the verge of telling everyone to go home. Like
Yeah.
I could scream and be like, I'm not enjoying this, go home. Like, and I think that's not a good place because I'm so nervous. So I need to work on that. And if I can do some sort of course, I know they do public speaking courses. But yeah, maybe the Arthur Finney College, do like a something there, or I don't know. I want to slowly progress to doing platform. I know I want to do it, but just I feel I just need to work on my nerves. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's just yeah, that's the next part, I think.
But also understand that they won't go.
No, and that's
Like,
it's because
and
you
that is the thing. Like, I spent ages waiting to know that I was ready because I thought if I was ready, my nerves wouldn't be there. And it's actually about understanding that you have to push through them. So
yeah,
yeah, the more you practice it, the more confident you get. When I first started, I would be on the microphone. I could hear I'd sound like a goat because I was so nervous. You could hear it in my voice.
yeah,
And then I still get that now, but I'm willing to give myself the grace of a breath to settle it. Whereas before I'd just keep pushing and I'd be like this for ages because I'm so scared. Whereas now I go, oh God, there's that quiver, and I go, and I let it out, and it's much easier, and then I'm in much more in control. But it was one of the greatest gifts to me was Lynn Parker at AFC, where
wow,
I put my hand up with a question and just said, how did you get over your nerves? And she was just like, they haven't gone anywhere. What are you talking about? I'm still absolutely petrified. And it was such a watershed moment for me because I thought, oh, because I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting for that apps because it's crushing, it's
yeah,
debilitating, it's
it
so
is.
hard.
And
And
mine,
every
I
now, go on.
end up getting really like worked up, and then I'm like, I don't want anyone to talk to me, and I'm like, no, 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 and then it's like, I think I can't do that on the stage. Like,
I see. I get everyone to talk to me. I arrive and I'm like, I say to Amanda and Kim who help me, just talk at me, just talk. Let's not stop because if I stop, that's when it really gets hold on me. Like
yeah,
I tried to meditate once before I went on stage and it was horrendous because all I did was just sit percolating like a pickled onion in vinegar in my
yeah,
fear. Just absolutely, it was
yeah,
horrendous. So yeah, but yeah, good. I see. I love platform. I
yeah.
love it. It's my
I mean,
fave.
I come to see you. I think it was last February. I think it was in Faversham, and it was amazing. It was
Oh,
literally so good.
good.
And
Good.
it was at the old brewery.
Yeah, I love it in there.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah,
amazing atmosphere.
I'm back in there soon. Can't remember. Some point
Oh,
in the next couple of months.
I'll have to come along. I'll have to come
Oh,
along.
come along and have a go.
Oh no.
Absolutely not, he says. Come along and do it. Because this is the problem when you're not part of a church. I
Yeah,
always think that when you're in a church, you can stand up, you can do one link, you can sit back down, you've got an audience ready made. For you
yeah,
and me, you have to, get people out, and then you can't just do one link and sit back down because you've got a whole bloody audience, they've come out for
yeah,
you. So
yeah.
it is high pressure, no
I
doubt.
should maybe one day I'll take you up on that
Yeah,
offer.
go on. It's there when you want it. It's there when you want it. But yeah, it's something I love, and especially if you've got a busy mind and you love power. You see, you love power yoga, you love the energy because it's so big. And I'm not saying that every night I walk off stage and I'm buzzing, but the ones that you are make it worthwhile. So
Yeah,
I do get off stage
yeah.
and cry sometimes too.
Oh.
It's a mixed bag. It depends. Oh, amazing. So, Ollie, if anyone would like to book a reading with you or power yoga, where can they find all your details?
So I've got a website, olicox.co.uk, and also you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, Oli Cox Psychic Medium, or Instagram, I think it's Oli Cox Psychic. So yeah, you can
Fine. And
find
I will,
me somewhere there.
excellent. I will put a link to your website on the show notes so everybody can go and check you out. But thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.